It is official, Devin Booker has officially been named as the NBA 2K23 cover athlete for this year's game. And let's be honest, he is a very talented player. However, I will admit, it would have been so cool if they had done a LeBron James and Michael Jordan co-edition cover athletes. I know Michael Jordan is the cover athlete for the championship edition, but this is NBA 2K23, and with LeBron James and Michael Jordan being the most iconic players in basketball history, it was such a missed opportunity to not do them as the cover athletes for this game. However, there are a few other things that have been released about NBA 2K23 that I do want to discuss. So the first thing being the championship edition of the game. That's right, guys, a $240. That's right, a $240 exclusive edition of the game called the Championship Edition has been released for NBA 2K23. Now, within that Championship Edition, you get NBA 2K23 for both current gen and next gen, so whether you're on PS4 and PS5 or Xbox One and Xbox Series X. You get a 12-month subscription to NBA League Pass. You can check out all the NBA goodness. But apart from that, you really just get a lot of digital goods. You get like a lot of VC, some My Team cards, some player clothes, and all those kind of things. Especially for a $240 edition of the game, you would think that you'd get at least some kind of physical collectible in the real world that you can actually keep as a memento for this game. But no, it all seems to be digital collectibles for like the My Team and My Career game modes, which is all cool. To be fair, I am probably more of a My League guy myself, so the Championship Edition isn't really up my alley. Then again, I'm not really the target audience for it, but yeah, overall still $240 for a single game, which by next year is going to be irrelevant because 2K24 is going to be out. It definitely does seem to be a pretty steep price for the game, but hey, I'm sure there's going to be some people happy and willing to pay it, especially for the people that go all out in My Team. Now, the last thing I briefly want to discuss for this trailer is my NBA 2K23 wishlist. Now, I don't want to go too in-depth on everything I want in 2K23. Most things, most people have probably already covered it in their lists, but it's just a couple of things I want to add in for my list. So, the first thing that I'd like to see in NBA 2K23 is some more jerseys for offline play. Now, as someone who is a My League player, we have had, for the most part, apart from the City Edition jerseys, the same sets of jerseys for each team for the last like 10 years in 2K, and especially with all the different and varying City Edition jerseys that we've had in recent years. Not to mention all the special jerseys we've had released over the last like decade or so, and the earned jerseys. As someone who is currently using the Miami Heat in My League right now, so many of our jerseys that we have available to choose from are very similar to each other. If we had access to, yes, the old retro jerseys, give us maybe some of the Miami Heat Vice jerseys, some of the earned jerseys. How about that like pink, orange, and black iconic jersey that Shaq wore years ago? You know, if we had access to more jerseys, it'd be so cool, as well as more courts to match those jerseys. It would just add such a variety and fresh feel for people constantly going in game after game in My League, especially considering we have seen in the game they have made so many new courts and only used them in 1 year of 2K. It'd be so cool if they could just bring them back, polish them up a little bit for the next game, and then give us players more access to more courts, more jerseys, so that we can choose how we want our team to look and give us, the player, more variety going into My League or even just quick time game modes. The next thing I'd like to see added is some more players to NBA 2K. Now, with all the money that 2K is making off of microtransactions, in particularly from the My Team game mode, the franchise should be able to play to license the players to get them back into the game, in particularly for the throwback rosters. I was going back into NBA 2K22 recently on the Cleveland Cavaliers roster that won the championship, the one with Kyrie, LeBron James, and Kevin Love. There is no J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith was the starting shooting guard for that team, and despite him not being in the single player mode, they have a card from in My Team coming out this week. Chris Anderson, as a Miami Heat fan, he's also not in NBA 2K22. Now, if we can get all these guys into My Team, why can't we get these guys available in the single player throwback roster so that we can have more accurate rosters to pick from, so that in My League or even just quick play mode, we can customize our teams the way we want. And seeing that a lot of these guys are in the My Team game mode, we know that these guys are in the game and we know that it can be done. And especially looking back at all the throwback rosters, the amount of like 40-year-old, 65 overall Joe Smith and all those other kind of like generic feeling characters there are, it is crazy to say the least. So yeah, I really hope 2K can sign some more players so they can then build out these accurate throwback rosters. And finally, the last thing I'd like to see is an update to the My League game mode. Now, especially during the first few years, it's alright, but once you start to sim through a couple years into the game mode, the amount of times you get multiple 80 and 79 overalls just in free agency with no teams that aren't willing to budge on contracts so that no one can sign them around the league, it gets to a point where the simulation just is not realistic whatsoever. And don't get me wrong, I get that it is hard to simulate everything to make it exactly super realistic to exactly how it's going to be, so that in NBA 2K22, you can sim to 2K24 and it's going to be exactly like it is in real life. I'm not expecting that. But there's no way we should have all-star level players sitting in free agency and not being on a team whatsoever. And another thing with My League, if you look at real life trades, there are some times when huge packages are put together. 3-team trades, 5 picks going one way, 2 picks going another way. We can't make those trades in NBA 2K. Firstly, because just about any 3-team trade is almost near impossible to pull off, with one team always being upset and one team being super overpaid, and then the other team wanting to be super overpaid. So you're always getting ripped off in the 3-team deal. And the other thing is, you only have the ability to trade like 6 different assets. In the NBA, just recently, Rudy Gobert got traded for 5 first-round picks, like 4 players. I know it's probably not good to give people the ability to be able to trade like their entire team, their entire like pick haul, just to get one player in the game, but that should be a part of My League. There are GMs in real life who will trade 5, 6, 7 picks. Look at the Clippers with the Paul George trade. They traded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and like 7 picks to get Paul George. We don't even have the ability to trade 7 picks in NBA 2K. So it'd be really cool to see if they could at least try and update the game mode and the trading system to make it a little bit more realistic, so that yes, if players want to trade away their entire future for one player on a 1-year deal, they can if they want to. Not that I'd really recommend that, but you know, to give us players the option to play the game mode the way we want to. Anyway guys, that is today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1K, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then guys, I'll catch you then. See ya!